Why the grind isn't for everyone. When I say that, some people might say, "Oh no, you're just saying that because if you were mega successful, you wouldn't say that." Or if some other person was really, if you had the best job in the world, you would not say that. It's only because you are not the highest of the highest that you say that. Well, if we look around society, you will find that that is simply not true. Even in my own family, I have a very skewed family where we have some very extreme high achievers and then some sort of people who are less like that. So it's an interesting case study here because my uncle was, when he was younger than me, he was like one of the head cameramen people for a major news network in Australia. And he was getting promoted and he was paid a lot of money. He had a lot of social validation from that as well, being like a head cameraman of a big news network. It's pretty impressive. And like, he was getting promoted and he could have kept working there and made a whole bunch of money, and who knows. But one day, from what I was told, he came home and he was about 30 and he said, "I just can't do this anymore. I just can't do it anymore. I can't work full time." He just didn't think life was worth it if he had to work full time, even though he had a really, really good job. So he ended up quitting his job and becoming a musician. And he just he's an African drummer, an Indian drummer. He plays drum kit. He plays any type of drums all over the world, basically. And he does workshops and he does a bit of sound engineering. And we actually recorded a song together on the piano, and he recorded it. And it was just pretty cool. And he knows a lot about microphone. He's actually really talented, to be honest. I'm not just saying that. And he never ever worked full time ever again. He's in his 70s now. He has no regrets. He basically gave up a lifetime of money and status just to do what he wants to do. And here's the thing, he even inherited money and he didn't even try and save it. He just basically traveled the world and went all over the world, went to Africa and did some African drumming and all this stuff. And he has no regrets. He's in his 70s now. He does not care. He lived life what he wanted to live. There's this thing that, the grind is for everyone. Well, no, because why would my uncle give up a very, very prestigious job with like relatively good money? Especially back then, it was a lot of money as well. Why would he give that up to be a musician? Because he wasn't getting paid that much to be a musician. He wasn't a famous musician, That's the thing, it's just he didn't even try and become a musician in the sense, I want to be famous. He just loved what he did. He still does it, to be honest, How many people can say they love what they do and just want to be happy, He has no regrets. I even saw this video on YouTube. There's this guy who had apparently from what I saw in the story, he had a relatively decent job and he quit it to live in his car. His car. It wasn't a van, it was just a car. He lives in his car, and he said in the video that he's more happy living in his car than when he was working in this well-paid job. Relatively, I don't know what job he had, but it was apparently a decent job. I thought to myself, if the grind was for everyone, why would people quit the corporate world and become a yoga instructor or a surf teacher or go to Asia and teach English like a lot of people do? And why do people want to travel the world? If the grind was so amazing, everyone would want it. It would just be the best thing in the world. It'd be like, oh wow, everyone would be happy and burnout wouldn't exist because you're never going to believe what I saw. I saw this yesterday actually. I saw a post on Facebook and someone literally said this. I kid you not. It was I don't know. I didn't even look at the page, like a business page, and it goes, "The reason you're burnt out is because you're not actually working hard enough." And I was like, the irony. It just proves the point. It proves the point. You're not working hard enough. That's why you're burnt out. If you worked harder, you'd have more energy. Okay, I guess that's so clever. Why didn't I think of that before? What people don't understand is when you're burnt out, your brain literally shuts down. It's not... It's like when your body's fatigued from exercise. You go, oh, you're tired. You don't choose that. In the same way with burnout, you don't choose that. You feel burnt out. And obviously, if you don't like what you do, that feeds into it even more. But why would people do all these things like travel the world? I've known people who take a year off their work and just travel the world. And they could have made more money if they just kept grinding, but they don't do it because they don't like it. I have so many examples of, honestly, people I know, and one of my friends who, unfortunately didn't, I think it got too much for him. I don't want to get censored, but he couldn't, he only, made it to 25. He was in the middle of that corporate world. He tried to start businesses. He tried to do all these things and it just didn't work. But he grinded so hard and it was just so sad to see what it did to his mind. It was so sad. But of course, these people who glorify the grind, look, maybe it works for them. Maybe they love it. And that's the thing, these people who glorify the grind, they might be running their own business and making a whole bunch of money and they're at the top and they feel powerful and maybe they, you don't understand, not everyone works the same. This leads on to a point I wanted to make, which is, for my life personally, when I think I'm doing something that's going to make me money, like when I'm trying to start a business or something, I actually work really hard because I think, oh wow, I actually have a lot of motivation. And it's like when I think a lot of people, when they start a business or whatever they're trying to do, they think that, okay, if I grind this for a few years, I might be able to sell the business and then, make a whole bunch of money and then I'm actually free. If you're working towards freedom, I think it's a bit more easier to grind, in my opinion. Because I'm someone who works at a very unusual schedule. Like I work really well one day for like a crazy amount of output. The next day I get tired and I want to rest. Everyone's different, you know? Everyone's different. There's this guy that I know, and he has a brother-in-law, and this guy started like a gambling business, and apparently he was just so anti-work. He didn't want to work a 9 to 5. He was really against it. He was doing pretty much anything to like not have a job, basically. And then he started this gambling business, like an online affiliate marketing gambling business, and he had all these other things going on as well. And apparently he worked like ridiculous hours for like 3 years, or 3 or 5 years or whatever it was. He worked non-stop, just non-stop. And then he sold the company for millions and millions of dollars. And then he retired. And now he just rides bikes all around the world. Has a nice, massive house. And it's like, and I'm saying like the grind is different for everyone. This guy hated work, and yet he worked so hard to make a big business. So like, that's the thing. If people want to guilt trip you for not loving the grind, maybe you would grind if you had a reason to do it. But even if you didn't, you're still a human being, and not everyone wants to, like my uncle wants to be a musician. That's what makes him happy. Music makes people happy, you know, but like, here's the thing. People who love the grind, they probably have a favorite song they listen to or a musician they like, unless of course AI just, you know, now that's all that, unless they're just using AI music, but I doubt that's happened yet, but... But they probably have like a movie they like to watch, or like a musical, or I don't know, whatever people do, you know. These people who grind so much, surely they have time where they listen to music or whatever it is they like, and you know, those people are musicians. Like, you gonna have a go at those people? You're gonna say, oh, those people are not grinding like I'm grinding. I mean, what is the deal with these people? I got this from a commenter. Like, the commenter was saying that, you know, a lot of ego is driven, this world is driven a lot by ego, and I totally agree with that, to be honest. A lot of these people who glorify the grind, I think it's like an ego thing, like, well, I suffer so much, you should suffer too, and even if they do like it, and they're not suffering, like, you know, maybe for their brain, they get pleasure out of just not thinking. I don't know, for me, I like to, when you work, you have to think, but it's a different type of thinking. It's like, you're not thinking about what life is and, you know, all these things. You're thinking just about getting the task done. And some people probably feel happy when their mind is occupied, because then they don't have to think about the big questions. Or I'm the opposite. I want to think about all the hard things in life, the questions. I want to think things through. That's just what makes me happy. But we're all different. That's the problem with this grind mentality. We all work differently. We all work at different times, and we all have different things that matter to us. Some people really want to have children. That's their major life goal. Like, some people want to travel. Like, we all have different life goals. And just to say, oh, the grind is the most amazing thing, and it's everyone should do it and all this stuff, it just overlooks the, you know, even what I was saying in my other video, life's finite, you know, you grind, then you retire. I mean, what if you don't make it to that age? There's all these problems with this whole grind culture. I cannot stand the grind culture. It's like, the whole point for me of making money is to be free. And I've met rich businessmen who actually agree with me on this topic, so I'm not the only one that thinks this, but I'm sure, you know, someone will defend the grind. I don't know. You know what I'm like. I'll say something and someone will hate it, but it is what it is. But I hope that, you know, this resonated with someone, and thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.